Welcome to the arid hills of Cedar City, Utah. Here, children first learn to crawl, then they learn to walk, and then they learn to crawl. Rock crawl. Because of its naturally rugged landscape, the state of Utah is the hub of one of the fastest growing crazes in off-roading, extreme rock crawling. And Cedar City is getting in on the action with an event called the UROC Crawl.
This type of rock crawling is probably the most extreme I could ever imagine doing. I've never done anything worse than this. I do my best to make sure these guys get the ugliest stuff they can have and handle.
This year, 53 contestants are taking on the challenge. Each brings a Jeep equipped with a reinforced safety cage. However, the trick is not to roll over, it's to stay balanced.
If I see something that's going to be causing a lot of rollovers, we generally will go away from it. We don't try to make anybody roll over, but the chance of rolling in this sport, it's always there.
Once the organizers are ready, the competitors are geared up and the judges are prepped to top the runs. The race is on. This obstacle course is a 2-acre outcropping of solid granite. It's broken down into 12 separate runs. Contestants must complete each run within a certain time limit, and each course poses a unique hazard.
Any course we put together, we look for a good mix of design to it, that you've got easy, medium, hard, and oh my God, why?
The different challenges range from narrow crevices and very difficult turns to steep slopes and nearly impossible climbs. Sometimes a rig beats the incline, and sometimes it doesn't.
You got to be a daredevil. I mean, to stand a thing on one wheel, completely vertical, you know at any second you can go over backwards, risking personal injury to yourself and destroying your equipment. You just have to push the limits as far as you can.
And of course, as in any competition, in rock crawling there are judges and a scoring system. For the Cedar City event, everyone starts with no marks. And for every foul, a team is assessed a certain number of points. 1 point for stopping, 1 for backing up, 10 for hitting a cone, and a full 30 for winching. The contestant who accrues the least number of points takes first prize. As the drivers twist their way through the perilous passageways, they are assisted by a spotter. In rock crawling, this hard-nosed sidekick acts as both navigator and savior, as he calls out instructions and uses brute force to keep the vehicle upright during the more precarious moments. It is also his responsibility to try to keep the number of penalty points to a minimum. And because the judges don't miss a beat, the margin of error is tight. With 6 courses left to go in the competition, some of the teams are beginning to pull away from the pack. Local driver Dean Bullock and his spotter are competing strongly and are currently in 3rd place. But a series of flawless runs has them flirting with first.
There's been a lot of pressure on us coming to our hometown. We live here in Cedar City, and, you know, the eyes are on us. The competitors, we're the mark that they're trying to beat.
This could be the run that makes or breaks Dean's chances for first place. This course is designed to test balance, and it takes a steady ride to keep your Jeep on all fours. Toward the end of the crawl, Dean hits a little snag.
I have a shorter vehicle and a little lighter than most, and there's not enough weight in the back end, so when you're going downhill, the back end wants to pass the front end over the top.
It requires a lot of communication between Dean and his spotter to steer Bullock's four-wheeler out of a precarious position. Though Dean and his spotter survived the inverted brush with disaster, they earned some penalty points during the run, and it could cost him first place overall. Another leading team, Jennifer Little and her husband Todd, are looking to stay on top. As one of the few female drivers on the circuit, she gets a lot of attention.
I mean, I'm nervous right now. I was nervous especially competing just because I don't know how guys would feel about some girl coming in there and all that stuff, but they're very, very nice.
Jennifer and Todd are next in line to tackle the ditch course. There are a lot of crevices to crawl into, and the teams who run before them have a tough time driving through without getting stuck. When it's their turn, they'll have 10 minutes to navigate the complex terrain, and hopefully they'll avoid having to use the dreaded winch.
It's not so cool, the winch, you know. You don't want to get there that way.
The beginning of the run has some minor stumbling blocks, but is relatively free of incident.
Okay, my way, hard.
But just as they begin the second half of the run, the Littles get immobilized by a nasty obstacle. Time is running out. Todd frantically fills the crevice with loose rock, hoping to create some extra traction. As Jennifer lunges out of the crease, she has to quickly stop so as not to hit her husband and spotter. But now she has less than 20 seconds to get across the finish line. With 1 second to spare, the husband and wife team get a nearly perfect score. A big-time run for the Littles. And how does she feel about almost plowing through her partner?
It's hard out there. It's such slick rock and sandy, and he slides and I slide, and when you feel it grip, you just got to go, and I'm glad he moves fast. Thank heavens for quick reflexes. That was kind of scary.
The man everyone is chasing is the overall points leader, John Gilliland, and he feels a number of competitors scratching at his heels.
Sometimes it's no fun because there's a lot of pressure on you. For some reason, this event, it's been fun being out front, and there's some guys that were pretty close behind, so we knew that we had to make some obstacles today.
This last run is crucial for Gilliland and his spotter. If they can pull off an exacting effort, they could be the rock stars of the day. John negotiates the first few impediments to perfection. The communication between John and his spotter exhibits why these two are the team to beat today.
This is my first UROC event. I'm extremely pleased with the course setup. It's very challenging, and it makes a difference when you can really work with somebody that you communicate with. The spotter's job is extremely important.
As the Gilliland team crosses the finish line, they know they've got the competition pretty well in hand. And the secret to his success lies in the basics.
It is definitely a combination of all things. Trying to have your weight centered in the right spot, not sitting too tall where you're going to roll over. But it's coming out to compete against the land, too. You take every obstacle one at a time, and so you combine all those things, and it makes something that works well, not only crawling through the rocks, but on steep faces as well.
If vultures liked metal, they'd have been circling the second annual UROC crawl to cash in on some of the vehicular carnage. But this event is also about confronting stone-cold barriers and coming out on top. In the end, this 4x4 struggle for supremacy turned into a crowd-pleasing success.